The doctor is in. What is up, people? It's Dr. Drye with the fifth quarter fantasy cast. And tonight we're going to talk about my positional tiers. First of all, shout out to Super Culture. Got to go to their concert last night. Those are the guys that sing our intro and outro. Local band here in Northeast Ohio. I think they're going to blow up really big here soon. So it was just a treat to see them live in person. Keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job. So just wanted to start out with a shout out there. And I guess we'll just jump into it. So I'm not very smooth with the screen sharing yet. Still trying to figure out this platform, but we'll go ahead and get that going. So bear with me 1 second here, and we'll get that going here. And so here's how it's going to work. Now this is all kind of based off of just one quarterback. I don't do a lot of super flex or anything like that. These are my personal rankings. You might disagree with some, might find some hot takes interesting. Pretty standard for the most part, but we take risks over here. I don't really like to settle on players or anything like that. So sometimes I leave guys completely off of this thing. So let me just make sure this looks right really quick. It does not. So I will move that over there. And here we go. All right, so we're just going to jump into it. We're just gonna do quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And tight end, there's really only one guy that you want. So we'll just start a little bit of a hot take right off the bat. My number one is Jalen Hurts. I have him over Patrick Mahomes. I love his weapons a lot more than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'll never do that. Mahomes will probably finish one, but I have a good feeling that Hurts is going to be the top quarterback in fantasy this year. So very excited about Jalen Hurts. Mahomes also in that super tier there. So, you can't go wrong with Mahomes. He's usually the first quarterback right off the board. I think, I love that you can stack Hurts with Devontae Smith later. Mahomes looking more like a Travis Kelce first round stack. So love getting that stack there. So those are my top two. They're above everybody else. And then I think really how you see it is there's nine in this case. I added an extra quarterback into the B tier, but yeah, I think there's about 8 quarterbacks before you really see kind of a drop off, and even then it's more of an upside play. So we're looking at Mr. Joe Burrow, and then we're looking at Josh Allen. A lot of people have Allen over Joe Burrow. I think Burrow's just a gamer, man. I think Josh Allen comes up small in those different big moments. Joe Burrow, I don't know, he shows up for you, and he supports T Higgins, he supports Jamar Chase. He has that ability to do that. Whereas, Allen, I don't like his weapons near as much. I think the Bengals are a better team. I think they're going to be in more shootouts. And I think he just shows up. I know Allen has the rushing upside, but Burrow kind of has that sneaky rushing upside too. So they're in my A tier. You can't go wrong with either of those guys. Other guys you can't go wrong with, I don't think, but they have maybe a little bit more of a boom bust potential. I do have Trevor Lawrence as my 5th quarterback. A lot of people have him as like the 8th, right before that drop off where people wait to get that next quarterback. I think he's going to take that next step and start to get into that Joe Burrow, Josh Allen action. So Trevor Lawrence is who I have up there. Also, he has Calvin Ridley. I'm extremely high on Calvin Ridley. A lot of people think he all of a sudden is going to suck at football. I don't think that's the case. He was like the number 3 dynasty asset right before the gambling thing and all that. So I think he's going to come back strong and be that primary weapon for Trevor Lawrence. Next, you have Lamar Jackson, loaded up with a new offense. I'm really kind of out on all these receivers. Zay Flowers would be the one that I'm most excited about just because I do happen to like rookies a lot. But OBJ, I don't know, I just think he's kind of a shell of himself. I know he had a good comeback with the Rams, but, the guy's been so injured. But, you got to swing for upside. Lamar Jackson, he's in a new offense with Todd Monken, I believe he was like the OC for Georgia before, just running that dynamic offense, and would love to see what happens here at the pro level with that, which he's done before and done successfully. So love his new OC. Justin Fields, another quarterback who I think takes that next leap forward. That we've seen the rushing upside with him. He does have DJ Moore now, which is better than any receiver that he's had before. Darnell Mooney was miscast as a wide receiver one last year. I think he's better in that wide receiver 2-3 range. Not so much for fantasy. I don't think Mooney's going to do much, but Justin Fields definitely has that upside where he's going to get you that rushing. So he's in my B tier. Next, if you want to start a 34-year-old rookie, Dr. Drye, he's in that B tier. He's never thrown an interception on the pro level, the college level, the high school level, the Pee Wee level, or anything. So scoop up Dr. Drye. He doesn't throw interceptions. He's never thrown one in a game. So, but if you don't want to draft him, you have Justin Herbert there. And so Justin Herbert, kind of a down year. That's really the only reason why I have him as like that 8th quarterback. I do like that he has a new OC as well. And it's who is it? It's Kellen Moore, who came over from the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to air that bitch out over in LA. So looking forward to Justin Herbert and what he can do. They drafted Quentin Johnston to add with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You got Eckler out of the backfield. He's got a ton of weapons. Love Justin Herbert. All right, so now we get into a little bit that C tier where you're, I don't know, say you missed out on the top 8, but you're still looking for that upside play, and you're still happy with these guys as your starters. Tua, got hurt a lot last year. If he stays healthy, he's up here in that AB range. Like, he puts up numbers. He has Tyreek Hill. He has Jalen Waddle. He's got so many top tier weapons. Basically has 2 wide receiver ones for fantasy. Tua is someone that, maybe even like if you waited to get quarterback and you're one of those first people to get that second quarterback just in case, Tua is a great option there. So I like Tua. He's one of those guys that can put up that 6 touchdown performance. He has those, that huge boom potential. The other end of that, very, one hit, he could be done. So like, it's one of those things that you just have to monitor. Anthony Richardson, very boom bust. I just took him in a dynasty league as my second quarterback, and a lot of people calling him a bust already. I think the dynasty community loves him a lot more. But yeah, Anthony Richardson, I don't think we've ever seen an athlete like that can rush like that. College, the passing isn't very impressive at all. So it's he does have Jalen Hurts' former OC kind of helped develop him. Hurts was a lot further along as a passer than Anthony Richardson is, though, but I do think Anthony Richardson just has such a high ceiling with that rushing upside. You got to put him there. Deshaun Watson, another year in that Cleveland offense. They added Elijah Moore, who I think is going to be lethal this year. He's there. Dak Prescott, Cowboys offense, it shows up every year. I mean, people hate on it because it's the Cowboys, but he shows up every year. He's gonna sling that ball around, so he's a good, in that C option. Now you get into D, where I'm comfortable starting some of these guys. Probably more so the top 2. Jared Goff, I actually really really like him, but it would be weird if I put him in like the B tier or something. I don't think I like him that much, but Jared Goff, I think that Detroit Lions offense is going to be fire this year. It's going to be crazy. So he's the guy pulling all the strings there. He did great last year too. I mean, he's a good, low buy. Definitely someone that you could, have on your team as a backup if someone gets hurt or something. Someone who's perfect for bye week fill-ins, and he could honestly be your regular starter and put up the same numbers as some of these other guys. Geno Smith, awesome. Love that they got JSN. They got Charbonnet now. They just loaded up on the offensive end. So Geno Smith, very exciting. Player. I think he proved a lot of people wrong. He's out of that shitty Jets offense, and he's with a real offense now in Seattle. And he's not just a game manager either. So I think he's a good fit there. Daniel Jones. I know kind of embarrassing that he fell in the middle of the field, with no one in front of him. Could have walked in for the touchdown and he fell. So that's kind of embarrassing. But the guy does put up numbers. I think he finished as the QB 12 or something last year. So really good low end QB1 or high end QB2. Kirk Cousins. I haven't seen that Netflix special yet, but I heard he's really good in there. Gets a lot of props and everything. He's got Jefferson. He's got Addison. He's got Hawkinson. He's got some weapons there, and the Vikings offense is in a lot of games, so they're going to have those shootouts with Detroit and Green Bay, and there's going to be a lot of like up and down games, so they're always going to be in it. They're always going to be throwing the ball. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, just the unknown upside with the Jets. I think you got to put him here. He had kind of a down year last year, but really he's going to be throwing to Garrett Wilson. He said Garrett Wilson reminds him of another number 17 they used to throw to Devontae Adams. So very excited about what Aaron Rodgers can do there. And then we get into the E tier. Not really excited about too many of these guys. There's some potential comeback stories in here. There's some rookies. I mean, we got Purdy, who's more of a real life game managing quarterback. Bryce Young, I'm just not near as high on the guy as everyone else is. We got C.J. Stroud. He could do something with. They have a bunch of like kind of random receivers. We're gonna see who emerges as that wide receiver one. Jordan Love, starting to kind of like the idea of Jordan Love. See how he does. They have a very young offense, a lot of first and second year guys. Derek Carr, I think he always seems to do fine. I mean, he does have those stinker games every once in a while where he gets like no touchdowns, an interception, and 100 yards or something. But he also has those high scoring games where he can get you 4 touchdowns at random. He's going to be in New Orleans this year. Russell Wilson, mainly because of the new head coach. That's what I like there. I like Sean Payton. I think he's going to, run that system pretty well and everything. And then down at the bottom, and there's other quarterbacks in the league. I know I'm just not going to touch on every single one of them, but you got Kyler Murray. If he comes back healthy, he's got that. He's a little fella, but boy can he run, and he can air it out too. And they're gonna be losing, so he's gonna get that garbage time and everything, and feed Hollywood and all that. They're gonna be bad this year, so they're gonna be throwing it. And then I got Kenny Pickett down there. I like his weapons too. I kind of look at the whole situation. He kind of went into a weird, I don't know, just kind of like was starting one game, out the next game, just all over the place last year, and hopefully he can get it together this year down in that F tier. So those are my quarterbacks. Kind of talked about them a little too long, but let's see. So next we have running backs. Let's see. We have Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson. I have all of them in that S tier. Those are your top 3 off the board, usually in different orders. But CMC, the guy's generational. You can't ignore it. He's the RB1. Eckler shows up every year. He's had 38 touchdowns in the last 2 years. I don't know why you wouldn't draft him like early. If you don't like the wide receiver, 5 or 6 or something, and Eckler staring you right in the face at like number the 7th or 8th overall pick, go ahead and take him, man. Like he does such a good job, and he loves his fantasy owners too. Bijan Robinson, love it. He went to the perfect situation over in Atlanta. He's going to get the ball 100 times, a million times. He'll definitely get more than 100 times. So, I think he's looking at 300 plus touches whenever you add in the catching and everything. He's a generational back. He's going to be great for fantasy. He's got a good supporting cast with Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and hopefully they start getting the damn ball to Kyle Pitts. He's such a good talent. So, hopefully that just will open things up for Bijan even more. I know they love running in that offense also. Tier A, big tier here. I think there's just a lot of different ways that you can go, and I do have it in this order for a reason. So, King Henry, Nick Chubb, they're both going to get the ball a lot. Nick Chubb might even be ahead of Henry at this point as like the true purest runner in the NFL, and he's like a couple years younger. Really big on Tony Pollard. For that, we saw what he did splitting time with Zeke, and he wasn't even, the main guy half the time. He finished as the RB number 8. That is insane. I'd love to see what he can do with a full workload this year. Very high on Tony Pollard. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm probably higher on him than most people. I think he's a great RB1. I think he's also one of those generational rookies whenever it comes to more so the routes that he can run, and his elusiveness and his speed is like 90-something percentile. He's just a really good fast back, and he's in that Detroit Lions offense that I love so much. Next, Saquon Barkley. I'm probably not touching him with the contract situation right now. If anything clears up in the next month, whenever people actually start drafting more and everything, I might be more in on him then. But for now, I don't know. There's other people without contract situations that you can grab at this at this spot as your RB1 or hero running back. Jonathan Taylor, need to see him bounce back this year. He had that one awesome year, but I need to see him bounce back after kind of a bad year last year, disappointing. He did get hurt a little bit here and there too, but yeah, I mean, just need to see a bounce back there. Ramondre Stevenson, really like him. I love backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield, get those PPR points, and get the carries. So I know there's rumors about them signing another running back. I really hope that they don't because it was great to see what Ramondre could do last year. Brees Hall recovering from an ACL. That's kind of the only thing that has him down this far. I'd probably have him closer to the middle of the A tier if we knew he was healthy because he got off to a hell of a start last year. So would love to see what he can do. Hopefully he gets better soon. B tier, we have Najee Harris. I think he's a great back that you can find in like that third, fourth round. If he's staring you in the face over, these other guys, he's great to get. Like, and he low key gets a lot of catches too. So, he doesn't strike you as that stereotypical, catching back, but he gets those catches. Josh Jacobs, I get it. He finishes as an RB1 every year. I never draft him. I've always been out on him. I'm out on him even more this year. I know he finished the RB1 last year. They force fed him the ball. I don't think he's better than any of the guys ahead of him. I think it's the weirdest RB1 finish I've ever seen. I think it was just sheer volume. I don't think he's better than a lot of those guys above him. So I'm out on Josh Jacobs, mainly the contract situation too. Also, like he's kind of exhibited some punk behavior and say he doesn't care about people's fantasy teams, which I know it's not his job to, but I like a guy who cares about his fantasy teams. It's more fun that way. Get a guy that you can root for. Kenneth Walker, going to be kind of splitting with Zach Charbonnet. I do think he's still the primary back, so I still have him in that B tier, and he was awesome last year. I don't know. I don't understand how he was inefficient in any way, maybe in real football, but fantasy-wise, he was great. Travis Etienne has to worry about Tank Bigsby now. Otherwise, I'd have him closer to the beginning of this B tier. But I do like Travis Etienne. Great back who can do it all. Even though we didn't see a lot of catching from him last year, I think he's going to get that under control. Damian Pierce, man, he's a good violent runner. I think he got game scripted out a little too much last year. So he's in my C tier. I do think the offense will be better under Stroud this year. There's going to be those learning, growing pains and learning curves and everything, but I think they'll get it right. So Damian Pierce, I really like. DeAndre Swift, I love him in Philly. I just hope that it's not like a committee situation where they're giving it to the Boston Scotts of the world and Kenneth Gainwell and just all like splitting between like four different backs. Hopefully they really feature him like he should be because he's great whenever they get him the ball. Javonte Williams, man, if he was healthy, I would have him so much higher. I really want to see him do well, and hopefully that ACL is good. Just super scary with that. I don't know, just multiple, I don't know how many ligaments he tore, but apparently it was like a really bad injury. So yeah, he's someone that, you're definitely taking later and handcuff that guy with Samaje Perine. Perine was great in Cincinnati, stole a lot of carries and catches from Mixon out there last year and was kind of a sneaky good play. So, if you get Javonte late, take Samaje in that next round, get that Broncos backfield. Whenever Sean Payton's running an offense, they're going to run the damn ball. So, get both of those guys, maybe even use Samaje at the beginning of the year. Once Javonte gets better, gets, some reps under his belt, maybe he becomes the guy like he should, and then you'll have both guys. So I think that's the most important handcuff situation right now in the NFL. We got Miles Sanders. I think he's going to get a lot of catches out of the backfield too. So Carolina offense, I think is going to be better than a lot of people think. So I do really like Miles Sanders. Normally don't really like the player. I think he had his best year last year, and I know he's burnt some people in years past before that. So not someone that I'm particularly looking for, but if I'm in that running back dead zone and he's there, I'm going to take him. D tier, and Aaron Jones should probably be in that C tier, a little higher. He shows up every year, does a great job. He's the 1A over in Green Bay, and I think they're going to run the ball even more this year with Jordan Love under center. Pacheco, getting a little worried about him. Saw that he's recovering from offseason surgery, but he's in that Chiefs offense. If he continues to be the primary back, he's going to get that good work and everything. Rashad White, I think, can get a lot of receptions too. So I mainly play PPR. I think it's weird if you're not playing PPR, but Rashad White, very great late pickup. Madison and Connor. Madison smashed in every spot whenever he would spot start for Dalvin Cook. So that's what I love about Alexander Madison. I think he's proven. I don't know. It's going to be interesting seeing how much of a workload that they actually give him, but hopefully, they feed the man. James Conner, because who else is going to score points in Arizona? So he's not going to sniff the end zone, but he'll still be that workhorse back, and hopefully he can hold up. He is getting a little older. That E tier, we've got Kamara. And I know I have him pretty low here, so I think what scares me, it's not the suspension. I'm not worried about the suspension. It's how he was misused in the with the Saints last year. They just didn't give him the ball. Like, you got to get your best playmaker the ball, and they just didn't do that. And it's been like that for a couple of years now. Like, the last time he was good was probably like 2019, 2020, just off the top of my head. But yeah, Alvin Kamara, they got to get that guy the ball, man. So anyway, Charbonnet, that's more of an upside E. I think he's going to get enough work in that Seattle offense to where he can showcase why he is such a talent, and why if he didn't land in Seattle, he would probably be a bell cow in another offense. So hate that him and Kenneth Walker are splitting carries. I think it's bad for Kenneth Walker, bad for Charbonnet, but that's kind of how it ended up. J.K. Dobbins, I think he's kind of in a prove-it year. I know he's already asking for more money. I know running backs do need to be paid more, but J.K. is, like, just kidding. Like, show us what you can do, man. Like, it's, we've seen little snippets of it, but we have, just not a big body of work there. F tier, I'm kind of avoiding these guys. Joe Mixon, I know he just restructured his contract. I don't think they're very excited about him in Cincy. Cam Akers got hot at the end of last year, won some people some championships. I'm just not in on him. I don't think he's a good back. He almost got cut from his team last year before he blew up. And then James Cook, I just don't think they run enough over in Buffalo. Pass first offense, I just don't think he's going to get much of the ball. And then you got Mr. Harris stealing those goal line touchdowns. Wide receiver, my favorite position in fantasy. So fun to talk about, and just so many playmakers and all that. So we're going to look at the S tier. No surprise here, Jefferson and Chase. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but some people take Chase before Jefferson. I think that's that's fair. I'm a Jefferson over Chase guy, but Chase is, you're very happy with him at 1 or 2. Next tier we have Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill. Cooper Kupp, one of those. He had the best year that we've seen ever in fantasy. Triple Crown winner a couple years ago. Got hurt last year, but he was on pace as far as like points per game go to be one of. He was leading the NFL in points per game for fantasy. So, he's still got it. Excited to see him come back. He's got just such a good chemistry with Matt Stafford. The Rams are gonna suck too. So like, they're going to be throwing. He's going to get garbage time on top of everything. So he could have a very big year. Tyreek Hill, he's a game breaker, unlike anyone we've ever seen before. So Tyreek Hill, that same A tier. And these guys go 1, 2, 3, 4 in drafts. Next we got B tier, probably our biggest tier here, I think. Yep. So B tier, we got Devontae Adams. Kind of a crappy situation with Garoppolo or whoever the hell's going to be throwing him the ball, but he always shows up. He's such a good receiver. I just wish he was in a little bit better of a situation, but I think he's quarterback proof. So we're going to put him at the very top of this B tier. AJ Brown, awesome. I think he's one of those guys. He can get you those really big games and everything. Same thing with CD Lamb. They can both blow up at any moment. So they're near the top here of this B tier. Next, we have St. Brown. St. Brown, he is the number one option in Detroit. Hands down wide receiver one. He's got 6 games without Jamison Williams, too. So they are going to pepper him with targets, especially at the beginning of the year. Stephon Diggs, I have him toward the end of the B tier. Mainly because he kind of the last couple of years he's kind of disappeared in the fantasy playoffs. Whenever you need him most, he's your wide receiver one. Like why I don't know why he just disappears in like those week 13, 14, 15, or those week like 14, 15, 16 games. Can't have that out of your wide receiver one. So, he's someone that, maybe you draft and, right before the trade deadline, trade for someone equally as good, just to switch it up if you want to. And then Jalen Waddle, he so good. Like I love the Dolphins offense. He could be a wide receiver one about anywhere else, but he is a wide receiver two. Playing behind Hill, but he's still going to get his too. So he's in my B tier. C tier, Garrett Wilson. A lot of people very high on him this year. And I love it. I love that he's playing with Rodgers, who can air it out and everything. Rodgers does like to spread it around, though. So hopefully Garrett Wilson is that guy that, does remind him of Devontae Adams. So hopefully he does get him the ball like he should. But I do worry about, Rodgers giving too many targets to like Alan Lazard or, Randall Cobb or like someone like that really just eats into the production of Garrett Wilson, who should be getting that premier, peppered with targets. That's what you want to see. Chris Olave, awesome rookie year. Looking for him to do it again, do better. I think he does get that quarterback upgrade with Derek Carr, so would love to see what he can do there. Devontae Smith, another one of those wide receiver twos who can be a one. I do believe he finished as a wide receiver one in fantasy or pretty dang close. So Devontae Smith, he's got that rapport with Jalen Hurts from college and everything. So that's really cool to see. Next, we have our D tier. Just kind of a mixed bag of guys here. Kind of different situations. Some in like prove it years, some in others. T Higgins. Everyone's a lot higher on T Higgins than I am. So I'm kind of being generous. This is more for the people to put him in this D tier. I'm probably not drafting him. I never do. Just because I like other options at that ADP always. So, he'll get you 13 points a game. I think he's a great wide receiver two. If you're drafting him as a wide receiver one, you should probably look elsewhere. DK Metcalf, really like me some DK Metcalf. I think he's he doesn't miss games. He's awesome. He's in a high octane offense. So DK Metcalf is someone in that D tier that I like. Jerry Jeudy is someone I think who can really shoot up here. He's shown flashes. He just needs to put it all together. And I'm really hoping that Sean Payton can, get Russell Wilson right. We've never seen Wilson play like that before. It sucked. So hopefully we're not seeing that Russell Wilson again, and we're going to see the real Russell Wilson, and he's going to get the ball to Jerry Jeudy. So, love Jerry Jeudy there. Calvin Ridley, someone I'd love to put way higher, but I know that would be kind of weird. Calvin Ridley is someone I'm thinking is going to have a huge bounce back. I think he is him, especially in Jacksonville. He's going to be the undisputed one. I think he's better than Christian Kirk. I think he's going to really connect with Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville's got a dang good offense too, and it pains me to say that as a Titans fan, but you got to recognize it. It's they have a really good offense, so I think Calvin Ridley's going to be that guy there. Next, we have just some volume guys and some upside guys. We got Drake London, who was targeted a whole bunch last year. Unfortunately, Marcus Mariota is not very accurate. So Ritter, who knows if he's going to be better this year. But Drake London, he's I think he's only like 21. He's like 6'5", like he's huge. So hopefully he gets to do something with those targets this year. I think just like him and Pitts are going to open things up for Bijan, other way around. Bijan Robinson's, they have to respect the run now. They have, and Algier was great last year, but Bijan Robinson, you really have to kind of stack that box. Hopefully that opens up some things down the field. Hollywood Brown, I really, really like as like your wide receiver 3-4. just because the Cardinals are going to suck so bad this year. They're gonna have that garbage time. They're going to be throwing the ball, even if it's Colt McCoy throwing him the ball. 38-year-old Colt McCoy might be starting for the Cardinals for a little bit until Kyler gets back, and then who knows if Kyler even gets back. But before DeAndre Hopkins, he was injured for 6 games last year. Marquise Brown just had so many targets. He was a target hog. And, he doesn't do a whole lot with those, but he does enough to be, getting those wide receiver 1-2 numbers. So very excited about Hollywood Brown. Amari Cooper kind of had like a, show him you're better last year. I think that was awesome seeing him put up some good numbers, finishing as a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. So I'm a little down on him. I don't know why, but yeah, I do have him in this E tier. Just I gotta put him in there somewhere. Jahan Dotson, I think he's better than Terry McLaurin. Vinny does too. So we're very excited about Jahan Dotson. I think he takes that next step. Just so efficient in the games that he did play. But he was out quite a bit last year. I think he missed like 5 games in the middle. But whenever he gets in there, all he does is score touchdowns, and that's in a bad offense. So excited to see what he does. And then our F tier. So we got JSN. He's the only rookie that I have in here. I just think he's such a good professional, someone who's going to fit right in there in Seattle. I don't have Lockett in there. I think he's wildly inconsistent. JSN's ultimately the Lockett replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and put JSN in here. Ayuk, I think he's better than a better fantasy option than Debo. Not like a real life better player, but I think he's just what they need right there for fantasy. Traylon Burks, I know they just signed DeAndre Hopkins. I kind of made this before the DeAndre Hopkins signing, but I think Traylon Burks is a better wide receiver 2 than a 1. I think, and DeAndre should probably be in this list too. I just kind of made it kind of early, but Traylon Burks, I think we saw flashes of it last year, and I think we're going to see even more this year. And I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to open it up for him. A lot of people are saying it's a death sentence for Traylon Burks' fantasy production that DeAndre Hopkins landed in Tennessee, but I think it's really going to help him. And Tennessee needed DeAndre Hopkins more than any other team. So we had the worst wide receiving core in the NFL. Like, it was bad. So getting DeAndre Hopkins opens things up. Where, like, I think Traylon Burks, it helps Traylon Burks, it helps Chig Okonkwo, it helps Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill finally has at least 2 good receivers to throw to. So Traylon Burks is there, and then Kadarius Toney. He's someone that personally I'm out on, but man, you gotta look at the upside. Just he, if healthy, and if they get him the ball the right way, he could be easily like a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy. So just strictly off the upside, if you're looking for an upside play and you don't have a lot of risk at the beginning of your draft, look at Kadarius Toney. I think it's unlikely that he's going to do all that, but you never know with him. So we're going to go ahead and move on to tight ends. And so S tier, we have Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce. So it's Travis Kelce. He is the tight end 1. No one even comes close, and he does it every year. He's awesome. I don't think we see a fall off because of age or anything like that. I think he's like 32 or something. I think he can play at a very high level for another 5 years. He's tied to Patrick Mahomes, so I mean it's obvious. So next we got our A tier, where we have the other guys that you want. Mark Andrews, he, and for a while there it looked like he could possibly challenge with Travis Kelce for like a few games there, but that kind of faded out pretty quick a couple years ago. And so anyway, Mark Andrews, I think he's still the best receiving option in Baltimore. He's got Lamar Jackson trusts him, so he's a good second option there. George Kittle, he's still got it. He's great whenever he's healthy and everything. Just so many mouths to feed in the 49ers offense. Hawkinson, I think he's a good 2A 2B option over in Minnesota. Good young tight end there. Donkey Teeth, Dallas Goedert, just someone that I think meshes well with that Philadelphia Eagles offense. Whenever you got speedy guys like like Devonta Smith, and then you got your big receiver in AJ Brown. Dallas Goedert's right there in the middle of the field, so he's a really good A option there. And then Kyle Pitts, he's a unicorn. They just haven't gotten him the ball. So Kyle Pitts, hopefully they give him the ball more because I'd love to see what he can do with that. He's still very, very young. Someone who can still take that next step. So off of the upside alone, you're looking at Kyle Pitts ending up in that A tier there. B tier, I think you got some good guys to look at here. And Cole Kmet should be in there too. I don't know why I missed him, but add Cole Kmet in there. I think he's a really cool tight end to have in that Bears offense, and he puts up numbers too. Darren Waller, I love the change of scenery over in New York. Again, lots of a place that doesn't really have like a wide receiver one. I mean, you got like Sterling Shepard, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Paris Campbell's becoming kind of a thing out there. So just a lot of different guys, no like bona fide one. I think Darren Waller is that guy. We just haven't seen it in the last couple of years. I think he's been battling some injuries and some other stuff. And anyway, I think that him going to New York is a very good thing for him. I put him at the top of this B tier. Dalton Kincaid, I think he could really shoot up here. He's got very high upside. I'm high on him. I think he is the second best receiving option in Buffalo. I truly believe that after Diggs. And I think he could be that, become the long-term number one option in Buffalo. He could become like not saying he's Travis Kelce or anything like that, but he'd be tied to Josh Allen, which is great. High-octane offense, and, could become that number one guy. He stretches the field. He's just a very good tight end. So we got him there. Chig Okonkwo, love Chig. He was great last year. Started to show some flashes. Like the stats don't jump out at you, but if you watch some Titans games, he's like one of our elite young options that we have on that offense. And then Pat Freiermuth, he always shows up just. He's like a lot of like Pittsburgh tight ends. Like they just show up, one of those lunch pail kind of guys that's gonna get it done. And then we got our C tier, which is Mike Gesicki. I think he was always kind of just kind of like in the background in that Miami offense, and I think maybe even takes on more of a bigger receiving role in New England. They like to run those two. I think they're always, for some reason, I always have it in my head that they're trying to recreate the Gronk and Hernandez years, and so they have Hunter Henry and they got Mike Gesicki. I think Mike Gesicki's the much more athletic tight end. I think he could be really good there. Jawan Johnson over in New Orleans, one of those guys who surprises you with the numbers. A good spot start every now and again. We have Dulcich, and love his curly hair. It's cute. So he's just a kind of a good late option if you miss out on a bunch of guys at tight end. If you're going to settle for a tight end at the end, he's a good one. Dalton Schultz, I think he's going to be really good in Houston. You have a lot of, again, kind of like the Darren Waller and New York situation. Dalton Schultz going from the Cowboys over to the Texans, I think is a good move for C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to depend on Dalton Schultz quite a bit. And then we just got this guy eating up everything else, Taysom Hill. Man, he just, I don't know. He's just someone who, if you need a random start, you never know. He's more of a quarterback, running back. I think he has more rushing touchdowns than anything, but, he's going to eat. So he is our final player that we are talking about today. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and get back to normal. All right, there we go. I think that was pretty smooth. So anyway, kind of a long episode. I know I just kind of rambled a whole bunch, but hopefully you got some good information on that. Vinny's going to be dropping his, it's Friday night here right now, kind of late. I'm going to schedule this to go up on Saturday morning. And I believe Vinny's going to try to get to his on Sunday. And then sometime this upcoming week, we're going to get together and kind of discuss the differences and get into some other things. So that's everything I wanted to go over today. But hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you'll be on the lookout for some different things. And anyway, I appreciate you guys, all 11 of you subscribers. You rock. Let's build this thing up. And anyway, fifth quarter fantasy out.